Hey, beautiful souls, and welcome to the Soul Diary podcast. I'm Ala Kuzmas, also known as Melbourne Psychic Medium, and I know it's been about a minute since I've come on and done a podcast, but I'm back in. I'm back to discussing hot topics. Nothing is off the table, as is always stated. Today's topic I want to talk about is why more people are turning to spirituality. And I have a real hard and fast rule. I will never get anyone to believe in what I do. And what that means is I'm not going to sit there and convince you. I'm not going to tell you this is something you have to believe in because, A, B, and C, this is how it is. And, look what you can manifest. Look what intuition does. Look what intention does. Look what positive thinking does. I'm not here to convince anyone, and nor should anyone ever convince anyone. But why more people are turning is because they realize the greater power of what certain things can do. For instance, let's take manifestation as a topic. Is it a trend? Yes. But if you truly believe in what it can do, it is so powerful. It's not just a word to throw around. But if you start thinking positive and believing in what you do, you can then create anything you put your heart to. It's about, believing so much that it starts happening and unraveling. What is the difference between somebody who has made it, somebody who has reached an income of millions of dollars, compared to somebody who may be just scrounging around, living from, paycheck to paycheck? The one difference is that person earning millions of dollars wholeheartedly, body, mind, and soul, believes in what they do. They, for not 1 second, doubt their capability, nor doubt what they believe in or what they're producing or what they're selling or what they're putting out there. That is one of the biggest differences. Whereas it's all mindset, whereas the person living from paycheck to paycheck is probably struggling and not in a positive mindset and really trying hard to stay positive, but allows that negativity to seep in. And not to say that none of us are 100% perfect. We do all have our negative traits. However, it's about, really believing in what you're doing and what you're creating. And that is most important here. So these days, people have more questions. People want to understand their purpose. People want to seek out why certain things are happening. Why did it happen this way? Why did it happen that way? Why did I go through this situation? What did I need to learn here? And the more questions they have, the more they want to seek out why they were chosen to go through it. And when you start going through that journey, it is a bit of a rabbit hole. It never ends, and it's pretty exciting because you realize that life is no longer 3D. There's so many more dimensions to life. And once you start understanding, the messages you receive from the universe, whether you look at numbers, number plates, whether it's certain songs that come on, whether, you may have someone just enter your place of business or residence and just say something randomly, and then it just clicks for you and you're just like, oh my God, it's exactly what I needed to hear. Or you randomly, whereas nothing happens random, but if you're randomly like on Instagram or Facebook and something pops up and it's exactly what you needed to hear in that very moment. So when you start seeing all these happenstances that are occurring, you then realize that the universe is actually always providing you with answers. The universe is always giving you what you need, especially when you don't choke it or put out that desperate energy. So people have more questions, people are seeking more answers, and with more questions, you have more people going on a spiritual journey, realizing that they actually don't need to go too far to seek out those answers. They're right there with them. So it's just about them being open to it. Today, many people are feeling lonely. It's a very big thing. And when we feel lonely, we start going on a journey within and start searching for purpose. And a lot of people go through this journey. They're seeking out, what is it I'm truly meant to do? Now that I have this time and I've gone within, what more do I need to know? What more do I need to understand about myself? And this is the journey of spirituality, where you start delving on a deeper spiritual level. It's not just surface. It's not just fashion. This is a journey. And, this journey can be painful because it's going to bring up things that you never, ever wanted to tap into, or things that you actually forgot. So you have to be prepared that the beauty about spirituality, the beauty and the ugly side is you can tap into something that's wonderful because you'll end up healing it, but something very painful that you wanted to forget. So it's a blessing and a curse. So, a lot of people are going through that journey of spirituality in trying to understand themselves on a deeper level. When you have an understanding of yourself, when you start interacting with others, you will start understanding why certain people behave a certain way. But sometimes, we need to go through that loneliness in order to reconnect with ourselves. So loneliness isn't a bad thing. It's about reconnecting, and the universe gives us that space when we're on our spirituality journey to reconnect with ourselves. We've also been so conditioned growing up. We're told that we need to, when you're born, you need to learn to walk, you need to learn to talk, you need to go to school, you need to be educated, you then go dating, you then get married, you then have kids, and you have this structure, this human structure you're given. And this human structure is kind of what we're all conditioned to go through until you decide that, hold on a second, I feel like I'm on autopilot and I'm just living life like I'm being told to live it. But I feel there's a yearning inside that's pulling me to something more, that I need to go search for more, that, what I've been told to do is just not enough for my soul. So people start seeking out their journey, even when they're on their spiritual path. And this is a big thing of it. Like, this is a big part, especially those who feel like they've been controlled their whole life, or there's generational karma with family. People who go through that tend to start searching for meaning and purpose because they realize that the journey they have been on is actually not theirs. It's a reflection of what, their parents put them on, and their parents and their parents. And it becomes this generational karma of, it's just a repetition. And you're going to get to a point where you'll be like, I want to break this. I don't want to live in this cycle anymore. I don't want to repeat what's happened for generations in my family. I am being pulled to search deeper and live my life to the best of my ability and to find my purpose here. One of the biggest things that makes people turn to spirituality is tragedy. And it's usually grief, it's loss, it's heartbreak. It's that trauma that our soul goes through that shakes us up so much that puts us on a path of searching for more, trying to understand why. Why did I need to go through that grief? Why did I need to go through that heartbreak? Why did I need to go through that loss? And you go into this space of searching for answers. And this is usually the beginning of people's spiritual journey. This is where the universe shakes you up and puts you on a path to go search for more. And it's a beautiful path once you understand how much more there is to life. But it's also a very painful one because it's all about growth, and it's also shedding the skin of who you've only known your whole life and taking on somebody you're about to get to know again. Or get to know, again, because your soul has gone through that journey before. So it's about reconnecting with your true soul purpose. But that journey is very painful. You need to go through the core of understanding. You need to be literally broken apart in order to be put back together and to be the person you're meant to be. There's also struggles where people are always searching for answers, and they'll search outside sources for it, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's seeking approval, whether it's seeking validation. It's always from outside sources. A big part of turning to spirituality is also understanding that you actually carry all the answers within. You don't need anybody. You don't need to you don't need to search for answers. You don't need to seek approval. You don't need to please anybody. You actually need to please yourself and you need to seek your own approval. Because once you understand that you are the one person you're going to be living with for the rest of your life, you're going to be the most important person that you're going to have to please. Once you're on your spiritual path, you will start seeing, as I've tapped in before, a lot of the messages from the universe. You'll start seeing synchronicities. You'll start seeing repeating numbers, feathers. You'll have meaningful dreams. You'll have some amazing encounters with people that will cross your path. There'll be so many wonderful things happening to you, and also your gut feeling will just grow massively. You'll get to a point where your gut will be the one thing you're going to be asking questions to. You'll be like, does this feel right? No. Do I go there? Should I go there? Yes. Your gut will make you feel like those messages are coming through nice and strong. You'll have that internal compass that gives you yes or no answers like that, all with trusting who you are and who you're becoming. Spirituality is also quite personal. This is where you connect with yourself. Either it is through meditation, through prayer, through nature, through journaling, whatever it is, this is a very personal journey to you. And the more you connect, you'll find what works for you. That'll be your go-to for connection. I'm not a person who does meditation because meditation doesn't work for me. I probably have one that does, but usually my connection is being near the water or going for a walk in the park, around trees. I'm a bit of a tree hugger. So that to me is my grounding. That to me is my central place where I can reconnect with myself. So, everyone has their own spiritual personal journey. It could be mediumship. It could be you connecting with spirit and speaking with spirit. It absolutely is whatever is right for you. The beauty about spirituality, there's actually no wrong or right answer. It's all right because it is actually attuned and catered just to you personally, because your journey cannot be replicated or duplicated by anybody because it's you and for you only. It describes who you are to you and makes you feel right and aligned. And that's the most important thing. So don't go searching for someone to tell you how to reconnect with yourself. You can get guidance, but remember, you hold all the answers. Someone who connects with spirit daily and is a psychic medium and is very much into this spiritual world, I do want to say that I've seen people trying to seek clarity and connection and guidance, and it's not because they're weak. It's not because they're lost. It's because they want to connect to themselves on a deeper level. They know there's more to them than the way they've been living. And so once people start discovering that about themselves, they start getting these answers and they start feeling so much more aligned and at peace with themselves. The difference between someone who's connected spiritually to themselves and someone who's not is you can just see the glow, the difference between these people, because one is living on literally adrenaline and people's opinions and guidance and probably have lost themselves along the way, as opposed to somebody who's reconnected with themselves on a much deeper level and has really gotten to know their soul, because their soul is what's guiding them and they're connecting with that and allowing that to take them on their journey. I'd love to reflect on this. I'd love to know what was a massive life-changing event for you before you entered spirituality. I'd love to hear about it. Was it a loss? Was it grief, heartbreak? What was it that made you start seeking more? So let me know below. Love to read your comments. Tell me what first sent you on your spiritual journey. So if there's one thing I want you to take away from today's episode is you don't need to have all the answers. You just need to have one question, and that's to seek more. And if you already have that question, you've already started your spiritual journey. So don't feel lost. Don't feel like you need someone to take you by the hand and say, hey, you need to go that way. It's one question. And once you start delving into it and start looking further, your journey has begun. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today on the Soul Diary podcast and looking into why more people are turning to spirituality. Let me know if you're one of them. I'd love to hear it. Have a wonderful day and thank you for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe and like and share. Thank you. Bye.